Hello! In this next video we're going to be talking about our second type of one-step conversions, which now we're going to be talking about how to go from grams to moles, or go from moles to grams. Now last time when we were doing atoms to moles and moles to atoms, we had to use our 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd atoms in 1 mole. But now, since we're going grams to moles and moles to grams, we don't need that anymore. So, our new conversion that we need to use is going to be that 1 mole is now equal to some number of grams. And that number of grams is the molar mass. This changes for every element, and like we talked about on the last video, you can find the molar mass on the periodic table. So if you need help finding molar mass, go ahead and click over to the molar mass video and watch that, because you'll need that skill before you can do these types of conversions. So, now that we've got our conversion factor, let's do a few sample problems. So let's go ahead and start with grams to moles conversions. So let's say I'm starting with 45 grams of copper, and I want to know how many moles I have. So I'm going to set up a conversion, and at the end I want to know how many moles of copper I'm left with. So just like before, since we're going to moles of copper, we need to make sure that moles of copper is on the top of our fraction, because that's what we're trying to get to. And we've got to make sure that grams of copper now go in the bottom of our fraction, because that's what we started with. So now our grams of copper cancel grams of copper, and we're left with moles in the top of our fraction, which is what we want. Now using our conversion factor, we know that 1 mole is equal to some number of grams. When you get the molar mass of copper, you should see that it is 63.55 grams in 1 mole of copper. So now we've got our conversion factor set up. So now we multiply across the top, which multiplying by 1 doesn't do anything. We divide by the bottom, so we do 45 divided by 63.55, and we should get that we have 0.71 moles of copper. And that is our final answer. Making sure that you specify moles of copper on your answer. So, now we're going to go ahead and do a conversion going the other way. So this time we're going to go from moles to grams. So let's go ahead and start with 3.5 moles of iodine. Iodine is just I. And I want to know how many grams of iodine would I have if I had 3.5 moles. So I need grams of iodine at the end. And since that's what I want to get to, I want to make sure that I put grams of iodine in the top. And since I started with moles of iodine, I need to make sure that moles of iodine goes in the bottom. So that now I can cancel my moles of iodine with moles of iodine. And I'm just left with grams in the top. So when I fill in my conversion factor, I got 1 mole on the bottom is some number of grams. When you get the molar mass of iodine, it is 126.9. So now I'm going to go ahead and multiply across the top, and I don't need to divide because that's just a 1 on the bottom. So 3.5 times 126.9 gives me that I would have 444.2 grams of iodine. And that will be my final answer, making sure you've got grams of iodine as your unit. So, very similar to doing moles to atoms and atoms to moles. So the way that you set up your conversion, you just got to use the molar mass instead of using your 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. And as you might notice, these conversion factors are just flipped depending on which way you go. So you just got to make sure that you cancel the unit that you started with by putting it on the bottom, and the unit that you want to get to goes on the top. So that's it for this video.